Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. This is video post number 666, if you can believe it already. As tribute to this number, I will share with you all the research I have done on it to date and hopefully expose some new information to you, show you how it syncs up with Revelation, the book of the Bible that has made it infamous, and more. Let us begin by acknowledging that if you count to 666, you will have counted 121 prime numbers in doing so. And the reason that's interesting is because Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible, in most versions of the Bible, Revelation has gematria of 121. And it's Revelation verse 13, 18 that speaks of the number 666, which we'll get to. But notice that if you count to 666, there's 121 prime numbers, and it corresponds perfectly with the gematria of Revelation. Also, if you count the first 36 numbers, there are 11 prime numbers. And the reason 1 through 36 is significant is because if you sum 1 through 36, it totals 666, this number we're talking about. Also, of the first 36 numbers, 11 being prime is interesting because 11 is the square root of 121, this number is specific to Revelation. Also, if you sum 1 through 11, it totals 66, and again, Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible. The 11th prime number is 31. We'll see how that ties in with the verse in just a minute that speaks of 666. Also, we're going to get deeper into this, but in Revelation, the number 144 is used twice. And the connection between 144 and 666 is that if you take the number pi, 3.1415, with decimal points repeating, if you sum the first 144 decimal points of pi, it totals 666. And later we'll see another connection between 144 and 666 as we get to it. But right there, we've already covered the introduction, talked about some very significant numbers to Revelation and 666. Let us now examine the verse Revelation 13:18. Notice that 13 plus 18 is 31, the 11th prime number. Again, Revelation has gematria of 121. The square root of 121 is 11. If you sum 1 through 11, it totals 66, like Revelation being the 66th book that speaks of 666. Anyhow, that Bible verse says, "Here is wisdom," from King James Version. "Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666." Recall that score equals 20, so 60 is 60. 3 times 20 is 60. Just make sure that's clear. That's the King James wording. Anyhow, if we break this down part by part, "Here is wisdom" is the first sentence. "Here is wisdom" has gematria of 66. Again, Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible. Also notice that 6 times 6 is 36. And again, if you sum 1 through 36, it totals 666. Next up, "Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast." Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. In this same system of gematria sums to 223. This number is interesting because it ties in with the synagogue of Satan. Excuse me, let me pull this up here. The synagogue of Satan is referenced in Revelation as the false Jews who will rule in the end times. The synagogue of Satan. And it says, "Let him who hath understanding calculate the number of the beast." And that phrase has this gematria of 223, which is connected to synagogue of Satan. Also, that number has a connection to Masonic, a word used to describe things done by Freemasons, Masonic things. Notice that Masonic also has gematria of 74. And if you take the time to count all the different numbers used in Revelation, which some websites have already done, you will find out that the numbers used the most out of all the numbers in Revelation are 7 and 4. Those two numbers, 7 and 4, are used more than any other numbers in Revelation. Notice how Masonic has gematria of 74, this number that's very important in the Bible. Jesus has gematria of 74. Cross has gematria of 74. Messiah has gematria of 74. Gospel has gematria of 74. Very important number in the Bible. Now just think about this logically. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. Is it fair to say that Masonic men who are educated in this coding system would have the understanding to count the number? I would say yes, they certainly do. And I would say so do the subscribers of my channel, not because they are Freemasons, but because they are listeners of what I am teaching, and I feel that I have truly broken this Masonic code that has been hidden before our eyes for a very long time. These other numbers here are very interesting, but I don't want to get too tangential. I want to move ahead to the Gutenberg Bible and show you how this stuff all syncs up. Notice that the Gutenberg Bible was known as the 42-line Bible, and the word Freemason has Pythagorean gematria 42. I think the reference to 42-line Bible is a reference to the Freemasons. From Christianity.com, they say that the Gutenberg Bible was most likely published on the date of March 22nd, 1457. To date, this is the most credited date for the original publishing of the Gutenberg Bible. But there's also evidence out there that the publishing date might be earlier. That said, the most credited one is March 22nd, 1457, which in parts of the world is written with the day before the month, so 22/3. Just like Synagogue of Satan, like Masonic, like the number coded into the passage about the number 666. Now notice, Gutenberg Bible has Pythagorean gematria of 66, 39 books Old Testament, 27 New Testament. It's Revelation 3:9 that talks about the synagogue of Satan, and they say that the Jews go by the Old Testament of 39 books. The first book in the Old Testament is Genesis, which has a gematria of 33, the highest degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Notice that if you write out 33, it sums to 66 as well in Pythagorean gematria. This very special number to the Bible, this very special number to Freemasons. The financier of the Gutenberg Bible is said to be Johann Fust. Notice that Fust, his last name, is a word with 66 gematria. His total name of 114 is interesting because that's a very specific number to the Quran, where we find these same numbers heavily coded. Johannes Gutenberg, the man credited for creating the Gutenberg Bible, has interesting gematria, Pythagorean of 77. This number connects to things such as Christ, Knights of Templar, Jewish, and more. Excuse me, that's a typo. Jewish is not 77. Judaism is 77. Jewish is 74, like Jesus. Just to be clear there, that's a typo. Judaism, 77. Jewish, 74. They say the Bible is the first published book. Look at book in Pythagorean gematria. It breaks down to 2662. And what's interesting is Masons pride themselves on being reflections of God. The God gematria is 26. The Mason gematria is 62. I have a video on the word God decoded. Please check that video out if you have not already. All right, so now let's move on to the King James Version of the Bible. which was published in 1611 after the Gutenberg Bible, about 150 years later. A lot of people say this is the most authentic translation. However, I don't really get caught up in those arguments because, from my research, the original translation of the Bible is nothing like the modern English translations. And in fact, the original translation of the Bible is supposed to read pretty much exactly like the Quran. And if you're not aware, the Quran has been kept in its original publishing format in Arabic, word for word. Anyhow, the King James Bible, it's not, you can't say it's proof, but there's a lot of people who've written about it out there and say that it was edited by Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon had the final version before it was published, and Francis Bacon, as we're going to get to, gave himself his own 666 tribute in the King James Bible. Also, it's said that Francis Bacon coded the King James Bible with a form of gematria that we're going to talk about. It's also said that Francis Bacon was a Masonic man. Anyway, the form of gematria that Francis Bacon supposedly coded the King James Bible with works like this. A through Z lowercase are the values of 1 through 26. A is the first letter, Z is the 26th. However, uppercase letters, uppercase A through uppercase Z, are letter values 27 through 52, with Z being 52. In this letter system, what we're looking at here is the compass and square, the symbol of the Freemasons, who I truly do believe are the editors of all versions of the Bible. Their symbol is the capital G, and in this system by Francis Bacon, capital G would be the 33rd letter. Capital A, 27, capital B, 28, capital C, 29, capital D, 30, capital E, 31, capital F, 32, capital G, 33. You see? Let's just read this here, some notes from other people about Francis Bacon and the King James Version of the Bible. The 1611 King James Bible is ornamented with Bacon's symbols, and in my own special copy of the record edition, also dated 1611, these symbols are Rosicrucianly marked to call the attention of the initiated to them and to tell them that the 1611 Bible is without possibility of doubt one of Bacon's books. When Bacon was born, English as a literary language did not exist, but once he died, he had succeeded in making the English language the noblest vehicle of thought ever possessed by mankind. This he accomplished merely by his Bible and his Shakespeare. That quote from Edwin Lawrence, October 9th, 1912. The Bible, which all of us read and admire from an literary point of view, because of its peculiar and beautiful English, was written in that form by Bacon, who invented and perfected that style of English expression. The first editions of the Bible were printed under the same guidance and in the same manner as were the Shakespeare plays, and the ornaments for the various pages were drawn in pen and ink and on wood by artists engaged by Bacon who worked under his supervision. Every one of the ornaments concealed some Rosicrucian emblem and occasionally a Masonic emblem, or some initials that would reveal Bacon's name or the name of the Rosicrucians. Such ornaments were put not only in Christian Bible that Bacon had rewritten, but in Shakespeare plays and in some of Bacon's own books, and a few other books that were typically Rosicrucian in spirit. That from Dr. Spencer Lewis, April of 1930. The first edition of the King James Bible, which was edited by Francis Bacon and prepared under Masonic supervision, bears more Mason's marks than the Cathedral of Strasbourg, and that's from Manly P. Hall, a Mason himself. Hall is a word with 33 gematria. Bacon edited the authorized version of the Bible printed in 1611. Dr. Lancelot Andrewes, Bishop of Winchester, One of the chief translators was Bacon's close friend. The MSS are missing. That Bacon revised the manuscripts before publication is certain. Neither Bilston nor Miles, to whom the MSS were entrusted for final version, could have given the words such a literary masterpiece. We have their writings, they are mediocre, barren of style, lacking the creative touch. From Alfred Dodd, 1986. So those are just some other people's remarks on Bacon being the mastermind behind the King James Version of the Bible. Francis Bacon has Pythagorean name gematria of 51, one of the numbers connected to Freemason, no doubt a Masonic man. Simple English gematria of 105, numbers connected to Masonry and Zionism. And if you're new to my work, I'm often asserting that it is the Masons and Zionists who are behind this numerical coding that we find all throughout history, all throughout religious scripture, all throughout science text, and more. Those initials FB for Francis Bacon, F's the sixth letter, B's the second, they break down to 62. The word Mason has gematria of 62. They say that Francis Bacon published the King James Bible on May 2nd, 52. Remember, we were talking about his coding system that he used, 1 through 52. May 2nd is the 122nd day of the year, Truth Seeker, 122. Notice that he was born January 22nd. Can be written 122. The date he was born on has numerology of 99, like 66 upside down. Also 18. Remember, 18 can be broken into 6 plus 6 plus 6. Also a date with a 36 numerology connection. Again, if you sum 1 through 36, it totals 666. And also a date with 84 numerology. Francis Bacon was Attorney General of England and Wales. He was a lawyer. I am not sure if he was a Jesuit. Jesuit, though, has that gematria of 84, just like lawyer. Law has gematria of 36. Think about that. Man's law, 36. The date he died on, April 9th, 49, a number connected to Revelation in Pythagorean gematria. Date with some interesting numerology, 28, one of the numbers that has a gematria connection to God. 55, the God number in numerology. And also a date with 39 numerology, another number important to the Zionists, 39 books in the Old Testament which Revelation is based on. He died at the age of 65. 65 is a number connected to Knights Templar, who are the original Freemasons. Knights Templar also has gematria of 74, just like Masonic. He was Attorney General, England and Wales from 1613 to 1617. Attended Cambridge. Some of my earliest work shows how a lot of this gematria and numerology seems to originate from the two oldest universities in the world, Oxford and Cambridge, also out of England. And actually, that's technically not correct. The oldest university in the world is out of the Vatican, the Catholic Church, but then Oxford and Cambridge are the next two oldest. With all this talk of King James Bible, I just want you to know that King James has gematria of 89, just like the word religion. Show you something else about James, Truth Seeker. Notice that Revelation has gematria of 726. I've talked about New York, how New York has all this coding connecting with Revelation. New York's established on the date of 7/26/88. 7 plus 26 is 33, plus 88 more is 121. If you add up the full date, 7 plus 2 plus 6 plus 1 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8, that's New York's establishment date, July 26, 1788. It sums to 39. Again, Revelation's based on the 39 books of the Old Testament. Anyhow, what I want you to take away here, though, is Revelation 7:26. Look at what the name James is in Jewish gematria, Truth Seeker. James, 726. This number connected to Revelation, and his name is King James. Notice that King has a Jewish gematria of 66. Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible. See how it all ties together so nicely? None of this stuff is arbitrary. There's a reason it's called the King James Version, and this is the reason. Within the gematria calculations. All right. So next up, I want to move on to this connection to 144 and 666, as we mentioned earlier. If you take the number pi and you sum the first 144 decimal points, it totals 666. In Revelation, it says the mark of the beast is 666. Notice that the phrase mark of the beast in simple English gematria sums to 144. And just in case you don't trust my math, we'll do it right here in the calculator. Mark of the beast, 144. 144 directly connected to 666. Both of these numbers coming from Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. Now here in the United States and a lot of the Western world, the two biggest Christian holidays are Easter, when Jesus supposedly rose from the dead, and Christmas, celebrating Jesus' birthday. Check this out, Truth Seeker. Here's something I always wondered as a kid, and something that I suspect a lot of other people once wondered about. I used to always ask my mom, why is there this Easter bunny? There's no Easter bunnies in the Bible, so why Easter bunny? Easter bunny has a gematria of 144. Now on Christmas, it's become more about Santa Claus than Jesus or anything else. And look at the English gematria of Santa Claus, Truth Seeker. 666. Are we to think this is some sort of coincidence? Of course not. The reason all this is so, Truth Seeker, is because for all of our lives, we have been living under Masonic Zionist rule. These are the powers that be. These are the Illuminati. These are the people who consider themselves gods and are playing God. And just so Christians don't feel like they're getting picked on, I want to show you something. In the Quran, the name Muhammad is used I shouldn't say his name is used 4 times. Muhammad is spoken of 4 times in the Quran. The first verse that mentions Muhammad is book 3, verse 144. Notice that number 144, the first number to speak of Muhammad. And what that verse is about is him being the latest prophet in time. And the Quran recognizes that Jesus is one of the prophets of his time. The Quran says that Muhammad is the more recent prophet. Notice that time has a Jewish gematria of 144, this number. And that verse is about Muhammad being the latest prophet in time. Also, in the Quran, it says that Muhammad got his wisdom from the archangel Gabriel. Gabriel has gematria of 36. And again, if you sum 1 through 36, it sums to 666. Muhammad has the exact same gematria as Jesus, Truth Seeker. See all these 74s here? Muhammad, Jesus, cross, all 74. Gospel. This stuff is no coincidence. The first book in the Quran that uses the word Muhammad is 47. The word Christian in Pythagorean gematria is 47. Quran has gematria of 71. If you sum that out, it sums to 144. These numbers are not arbitrary. They're of great significance. They're of great importance. Let us just read that verse. Muhammad is not but a messenger. This is the English translation. This is not how it reads in Arabic. Other messengers have passed on before him, including Jesus. So if he was to die or be killed, would you turn back on your heels to unbelief? And he who turns back on his heels will never harm Allah at all, but Allah will reward the grateful. First verse that mentions Muhammad. But these numbers are all around us, truth seeker. Even things such as roulette wheels. The numbers on the roulette wheel count up to 36. It's the highest number. Again, if you sum the roulette wheel, if you sum 1 through 36, it totals 666. So that's pretty much the extent of this knowledge that I have accumulated to date. I hope this made sense to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments. I'm happy to answer. Again, I just want you to understand that none of these numbers are arbitrary. They're all based in mathematics, and the numbers within the Bible are based on these same mathematics. So that's pretty much it, Truth Seeker. I'm going to close out. Until next time, Encore Truth Seeker, I forgot to mention Francis Bacon's 666 tribute within the 1611 version of the King James Bible. It's actually quite telling, in my opinion. You can be the judge. I will share with you this research that I've uncovered and also my own 2 cents that I threw on top. So in the 1611 version of the King James Bible, there is a title page, then a blank page, then there are 33 pages of content before the next blank page. Notice that number 33, very specific to the Bible, very specific to the Masons. After the second blank page, there are another 633 pages of content, which brings us to Psalm 46. And what's interesting about Psalm 46 is that if you count the first 46 words, the 46th word is shake. If you count backwards from the end of Psalm 46, not counting this last word Selah, just means exclamation point. It's the same as an exclamation point. So if you ignore that word and count backward from refuge back, 46 words takes you to spear. So Psalm 46, the 46th word is shake, the 46th back word is spear. And some people theorize that Francis Bacon is who Shakespeare truly was, and they think this coding within Psalm 46 might be evidence of that. I don't know whether that's true, but this coding of 46 in Psalm 46 and Shakespeare is very real. Also, what's interesting is there's 111 words between shake and spear. And if you doubt any of this, just pause the video and count yourself. You will find this is true. With regards to 111, remember, words that have simple English gematria of 111 sum to 666. And this is the 666th page of content. Also, after Psalm 46, there are 666 remaining chapters in the Bible. Remember, there's 66 books, but within each book there are multiple chapters, such as Revelation has 20 chapters. So after Psalm 46, 666 remaining chapters. And what's interesting about 46 is its connection to we human beings. We have 46 chromosomes. We get 23 from our mother, 23 from our father. Also, what's unique about the number 46 is that it has a gematria of 46. 46 summed out equals 46. Let's go back and read Revelation 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Think about it. Number of a man. Man has 46 chromosomes. What are the authors of the Bible truly trying to tell us? I have my own opinions. I've expressed them in other videos. For this one, I'm going to let you think about it. All I ultimately want to do with this post is reveal knowledge about this number and let people build their own conclusions. Because I think if you think on this information long enough, hard enough, you will come to the same conclusions I have. I also want to close by giving tribute to the channel Josh Stoss. If you've never checked out his channel, he comments oftenly on my videos. Josh found my channel many months ago, and he did exactly what I was asking for at the time. I was asking people who found my channel and who enjoyed the work, I asked them to go out and replicate it, to use this knowledge, to make more discoveries. Josh Stoss has done exactly that. He's done a lot of work on the Quran too, if you're interested, but I want to share with you this video of his. Here he's looking at a King James Version Bible from 1611. He's got some real interesting findings here. We'll close out with this.
So this is the original King James Bible from 1611. And
uh-oh, technical difficulty.
It's got Masonic fingerprints in it, and I want to point out a couple of them just to show you guys. So here we have God, Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel, and Seth, etc. Pretty straightforward. To the normal average reader, this handshake will go right over their heads. They don't know what that means, or they just don't even observe it. But this is a Masonic handshake. No doubt, you can look this up. Politicians, religious figures, you name it, they're all doing this handshake because they're all in on it. They know what's going on. They've sold out. The rulers of this world are satanic, and it's so obvious. You have Cain and Abel here. This is telling. Cain kills Abel. If you follow down the family tree here, you will get two more handshakes right there on the murderer's side. So you see who the Masons side with. These Masonic handshakes that they no doubt put in here. They definitely had their fingers in this. So let's skip ahead to their favorite number here. 33, the number of the Master Mason. Here we have King David, the second king of Israel. If you didn't know, Israel translates to Saturn in Phoenician. Here we have King Solomon, who is a central figure in Masonry, and it should be no surprise that there's a Masonic handshake on each side of him. I mean, it's so obvious when you know what it is. To the average reader, they would have no idea what these handshakes are about. They're Masonic handshakes. Look at all these. So I want to show you one more here. Here's Jesus, and here's a Masonic handshake. Right there, right there, and right there. I just wanted to share this. Take from it what you will. I'm not going to tell you what to believe, but it's pretty obvious that the Masons had their hands in writing the King James Bible. So, if you don't know, the Masons are still in charge today. They control the police, politicians. It's all bought and paid for. They run it with the Jews, the Vatican. They all worship the same thing. They use the same symbols. And once you become aware of the symbols, you can you find them all over the place. So with that being said, interesting. It's on page 74. Huh. Jesus sums to 74, and so does cross. Jesus died on the cross at age 33. But if you're watching this, you probably already know that. So thank you guys for watching, and take care.
All right, truth seekers, so that's the end of the video. Until next time.